we have a couple of very special guests here with us today. Joining us in studio, one of our fearless leaders here at 13 News Now, my 4 p.m. anchor partner, and also on every other show that you could possibly imagine in the afternoon on our linear television program. Janet Roach is here. Janet, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me into your home.
Of course.
Yes,
of
your
course.
Live Impact News home.
Well,
I feel honored to be
You
here.
invited us into your home here at 13 News Now. It's kind of the first day we walked through the door to this building. So, it's nice to be able to return the favor. What do you think of the space?
This is nice. I like this. It's cozy, you know. It feels very relaxed, very informal, which is good because, the anchor desk is so formal.
Right.
And so this is a lot, more relaxed, and we can just kind of talk about anything here.
That's right.
And not get in trouble.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe. Am I saying too much there?
We cannot promise that
Okay,
you won't
can't
get
promise
in trouble.
that.
No,
Okay, we
no.
will get in
I have
trouble.
not found that to be the case. I have not been immune to trouble.
Okay, well, hopefully it's good trouble.
It's good trouble.
In the words of
as-
John Lewis, the great late John Lewis, good trouble.
That's right. Good trouble is the exact kind that we're looking for. And we want to announce our guest as well joining us. Sophia Nelson, a political author, a political journalist, a political analyst, is here with us over Microsoft Teams. Sophia, we've never met before. I'm Connor, and thanks so much for joining us here.
Well, thank you for having me. And hey, Janet.
Hey.
And so we're going to dig into a bunch of topics regarding last night's election, but really the impetus behind having Miss Nelson here with us on Live Impact News is an article that she wrote on VirginiaMercury.com. If you want to, at the conclusion of this interview, or if you want to follow along with us for some context, you can go to VirginiaMercury.com. The article is titled "The Meaning and the Duty of a First," and that's by Sophia Nelson, co-written by Colita Fairfax as well. And so I just want to start, Sophia, by asking, I'm wondering, this comes out the day after the elections. I'm wondering when during this process, when during the campaign process, did you start to kind of feel this article coming? And did you start to sort of plan this article out? And did you start to kind of plant the seeds for what would ultimately become this article that you released this morning?
So thank you for having me. We're getting a bit of an echo, so I hope that's not disruptive. Dr. Fairfax and I started talking about the article maybe a week ago. And we actually wrote it last night after the results came in. And from there, it was published this morning.
Okay, so you guys start to work on, start to talk a little bit about the contents of the article. You start to work on it, and it comes out this morning. I maybe would start with this. For anyone who's listening who hasn't read the article just yet, would you summarize it for us quickly? And then Janet and I will kind of dive into some of the parts that stood out to us. But could you give us a brief summary of the article itself?
Yeah, I think to summarize it in a nutshell, Dr. Fairfax and I are two African-American women, and we feel like this opportunity for the first Black woman nominated by a major party for governor was squandered. The campaign was not well run. She did not outreach to the Black community in the ways I would have, or I think others would have. And that's really what we wanted to focus on, that it was an opportunity lost.
And when you talk about that opportunity lost, the opportunity to be a first and how that was squandered, I want to hone in on one piece of this that I want to ask you about, and tell me if you think this is fair. This is like one of the many statements that I came out of the article that was sort of echoing around in my head. I guess maybe I put into my own words at least is, does a first lose its significance if it makes things more difficult for a potential second? Is that a fair sort of summary of a part of what you were saying? And how does that statement maybe resonate with you in the wake of everything that you've written?
Listen, Winsome is someone I've known for 25 years. I like her personally. She's a good mom. She's a good wife. But I think that her significance will never be diminished. She was the first. I think it will be very challenging for any black female Republican in the future to be at the top of a ticket. I think that it's already a challenge in the GOP to be African American, speaking from experience. But I think that this opportunity, they're already blaming it on her, saying she wasn't a good candidate, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and when you talk about they're already blaming it on her, in your experience of watching, black women in politics and the uphill battle that has been, do you see a situation where maybe you knew or you figured that if things didn't go well, that blame would quickly fall upon Winome Earl Sears' shoulders? Is that something that you anticipated based on that history?
Absolutely, which is another reason why we wanted to write the piece.
Yeah, and now you see it coming down today, and I'm wondering, where do you think Winome Earl Sears goes from here with that in mind? Obviously, she has had a very successful political career, and I'm glad you caught me with my language a little bit, because there's no diminishing the significance of what she has accomplished. And so I want to be careful to not do so when kind of reading through your article and trying to have this conversation with you. Winome Earl Sears has done historic and amazing things during her political career. What do you think is next for her in the wake of last night?
I have no idea, but I hope she retires and relaxes and enjoys the rest of her life.
Yeah, absolutely. She certainly, deserves it. She has worked very, very hard as lieutenant governor and before that. Now, I want to bring Janet back in. Janet, I'm wondering, do you want to join in here? And do you have any questions for Ms. Nelson that you would like to jump in with?
Okay, yeah, I had stepped out a second to get this audio correct. But hello, Sophia. It's always so good to see you. I appreciate you taking some time to join us. And I kind of wanted to talk about the election in general, and I'm very curious to get some of your thoughts, because it certainly was a huge victory for Democrats. And in some regards, some people may think that the margins were even wider than what they expected. What's your overall thought? I mean, what's the message that comes out of this election?
Janet, the quick answer is it's 2017 again.
Okay.
Think about it. Donald Trump is in his first term. 2016 gets sworn in. 2017, he's elected rather, sworn in. And the elections in Virginia, the state flips totally blue. It just happened again. That's my quick summary. I think that it was a backlash due to the government shutdown. I think it was a backlash for DOGE cuts. I think that voters in Virginia, New Jersey, New York is a different animal into itself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I think New Jersey, Virginia, and California spoke very loudly that this was pushback in a referendum on Trump's policies.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you talk about Trump's policies, one of the first things he did out of the gate that he's been very aggressive, and that is the DEI purge. And then you take a look at the candidates who won. 2 women governors, even the mayor of Detroit, a black woman. You look at the first Muslim woman, lieutenant governor. I mean, what does that say? I mean, there's a bit of irony there.
I don't know if you saw my tweet. I'm always very candid on Twitter. Yes. But my basic tweet was "E pluribus unum one." So to those of you who are anti-DEI, anti-diversity, I think last night's election spoke loudly about that.
And can I jump in very quickly, Janet? Mm-hmm. Because okay. A lot of rhetoric that we've gotten here recently is about how Governor Glenn Youngkin was very likable and how a lot of the campaign strategy was more of this. But I noticed in some of your tweets that you actually felt as though Governor Youngkin deserves some blame for failing to be maybe the centrist that in some ways he was promised to be. I'm wondering if you could expand on that. Do you feel as though Governor Glenn Youngkin has a role to play in why this election did not go Winome Earl Sears' way?
Oh, I think this was a major repudiation of Youngkin, Sears, and Mayorkas' administration. And I think particularly with the crackdown on the universities, the assault on academic freedom, DEI, absolutely. You know, I was a lifelong Republican before Trump, and I've been a never Trumper since 2015. So I've been politically homeless for a while. I was hoping that a guy like Glenn Youngkin would redefine and rebuild the Virginia Republican Party. He did not.
What what is the lesson from here for Republicans? I mean, what do you believe that they will begin to distance themselves from Trump, or is that just never going to happen?
No, it's not going to happen. It's a cult. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. It's a cult of personality. I'll be kind. It's a cult of personality.
Mm. And the lesson for Democrats, are they looking at what happened last night and saying, okay, this is kind of a roadmap for next year for the midterms?
Yeah, I think that they've got to maintain their momentum. They've got to not overreach and lurch left, which the Republicans have overreached and lurched right. The game in American politics is in the center. Center left, center right. That's where we all live. That's where normal people live.
Mm-hmm. So you believe that the two ladies who won governor being more centrist, do these results suggest that a more centrist and pragmatic approach is a winning formula for Democrats?
Listen, Jana, we don't have time to dig into the mental health component of this, but one of the things that's a challenge is people can't do chaos 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Donald Trump is chaos. Abigail Spanberger is the most calm, benign candidate I think I've ever seen. No drama, no chaos. Just let's do the work. And I think Mikey Sherrill's the same. And I think people are ready for people to do the work.
Mm.
They don't want drama.
I'm going to jump in as well quickly, Janet, because
Okay.
I know that you mentioned that New York City is a different animal in and of itself. We talk about how sort of we're looking for, or the majority of people are looking for that center-left, center-right, chaos-free approach. And then we see in New York City that a far-left candidate, Zohran Mamdani, wins the election and wins it by a substantial margin. Now, I'm wondering if you could explain what makes New York so different in this instance.
New York is New York. It is like no other place on earth. I think we can all agree with that. It's so culturally rich and diverse. You've got Broadway, you've got Wall Street, you've got rich, you've got poor, you've got working, you have people who are at the UN and basically run policy of the world. UN is a very diverse, New York is a very diverse place. And I think that the mayor-elect just represents that diversity.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Attorney General's race. Obviously, that was the closest one, but I mean, Jones won by about 6 points, so it was a good bit of a distance there. What do you think happened there? Some people are saying that some of the rhetoric that we hear across the country and coming out of Washington has been so toxic that when those text messages came out, which, were bad messages, I think people agree that what was in those text messages were uncalled for, unacceptable. But we have reached a point in this country where the rhetoric is so nasty, is so toxic. Did that in some ways give Jones the opportunity to continue with his campaign?
I think there are two things. Number one, the country has become numb because the President of the United States every day for the last, if you count the first term, we're looking at almost a decade now of Trump and crazy tweets, dropping, videos of him dropping feces on the American people. We're over it. We're bored with it now, which is bad. And so when Jones' text came out late in the campaign, I heard a lot of people say, So what? Trump does it every day. I'll be damned if I'm going to not vote for a guy because he had some texts that he thought were private. I didn't vote for Jones because of the text. And I am not a Maori's fan at all. But my ethics and my moral compass wouldn't allow me to vote for someone that texted something like that. But I was clearly in the minority of Virginians who felt that way.
What does Jones need to do now that he's going to be Attorney General? I mean, there are some people who feel like you do. How does he recover now that he has this position or will have this position?
If you paid attention to social media this morning, particularly on Fox News and other networks, they're already making him a boogeyman.
Okay.
They're going to make him the poster child for 26 and beyond. They're going to say that Democrats elect people who want to kill their political opponents and kill their children. They already started this morning. He's going to have a rough time as Attorney General. I expect within the next week or two that there will be calls for him to resign, to step aside, that they can appoint someone else. I think that the Republicans are going to make him a boogeyman, and I think that a lot of law enforcement groups are going to have a hard time working with him because of the text.
And we talk about how you felt yourself that you would not be able to vote for him because of what was said in those text messages, and now he's going to have extra barriers to get through in order to do what he wants to do as Attorney General. So both in terms of getting through those barriers and maybe winning back the support of voters that he lost simply because of those text messages, is there anything he could do to, I guess, win back your vote in the future, or win at least a symbolic vote of confidence from you? Is there anything he could do to make up for those mistakes?
Yeah, I'm irrelevant. The majority of Virginians voted for him, and they elected him Attorney General. Like Janet said, 6 points is a substantial win. So he doesn't have to do anything but do his job. But I'm telling you, he's going to be a political football. And the groups that are conservative are going to make him their poster child. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how he and whether or not he can kind of win some people over, and whether or not he'll try to continue his political career, because that's going to be interesting to watch as well. Yeah, the government shutdown. We just heard from Governor Youngkin, and he seems to blame the loss to some degree on the government shutdown. He was asked the question, do you think this is a repudiation of Donald Trump? And he pivoted and began to talk about the government shutdown. He didn't answer that question directly. And obviously the government shutdown did play a big part in this, but is this a sign of Republicans still being afraid to talk about Donald Trump?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Youngkin's not going to criticize Trump. And yes, the government shutdown had everything to do with Virginia's results as well as New Jersey's, because New Jersey has a good group of federal workers as well on the New York, New Jersey type projects that are federal projects, like that $18 billion project that Trump canceled. Yeah, it had everything to do with it.
Okay.
And when we see $18 billion of infrastructure in that part of the country get canceled, and then there's a resounding win in the New Jersey governor's race, a resounding win in the New York City mayoral race, you can kind of see that stuff tangibly coming to fruition with voters. I have a question, Sophia, that I just, based on an answer that you gave before, that kind of is a little bit detached from the elections last night and is more, you talked about how you're politically aimless since the rise
homeless.
Politically homeless. Right. What is there anything freeing in that? Is there anything about that you have discovered has led you to maybe some sort of new candidates or new ways of thinking or a new perspective on our political system? Have any positives come out of that situation?
Well, as Janet knows, because she's covered it, I'm state vice chair of the Forward Party in Virginia. And one of my former mentors, New Jersey Governor Christine Todd Whitman, a Republican, who I worked for right out of law school, is one of our leaders on the national level. And we are trying to build a viable third party. But it's hard work. The money doesn't come easy. The donors are afraid to give. The two parties have a lot on the money, the infrastructure. But I think we need a third party in this country, and we're trying to build it. So it has been freeing, but it's also frustrating.
Yeah, I can imagine so. And I guess a final question, I don't know, I want to go back to the win of Abigail Spanberger. And last night she did talk about policy. She talked about reproductive rights. She talked about paying teachers and making sure that teachers are respected and a few other things. How would you describe the policy changes that we're about to see with her coming in as governor? And the fact that she has, the House race is extended by, I don't know, 10 or so, or about a dozen.
64 seats
Yeah.
as it stands. Yeah.
Definitely a mandate.
She is going to get a lot done. I think it will start with the redistricting that Virginia is going to undertake. Mm-hmm. And I think that she's going to be a pragmatist, centrist. And that's how she got elected. That's how she got elected to Congress in 2018. And I think she's going to be someone to watch for the VP shortlist in 2028.
Okay. And that's a big statement, the VP shortlist in 2028. Janet, you hear something like that. How does that kind of hit home? We've seen Tim Kaine, a former Virginia politician, be a vice presidential candidate. What do you think when you hear something like that?
Well, when I heard her speak last night, when I heard her give that speech, which I think it was about 30 minutes long, it looked as if though she was not reading. This was coming from the heart. I thought, I can see that. I can see her as a potential VP pick. Yeah, yep. That was absolutely what went through my mind, listening to her speak last night, and then knowing that she's a centrist, and that appeal that she made to wanting to be a Virginia for all Virginians. She really kind of hit home.
A Gavin Newsom, Abigail Spanberger ticket could be pretty powerful.
Mm.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. It'll be here before you know it.
And it's interesting, a Gavin Newsom, Abigail Spanberger ticket would include leaders of two states that seem like they could be major players in this redistricting
and two states that had big wins last night.
And two states with big wins last night. And I want to touch on the
government shutdown. Well, think about it like this. Newsom is the firebrand. He's the take it to Trump guy. And Abigail's the calm, focused. I'm the workhorse. I'll get it done.
Yeah.
They're a good balance.
It's a good balance. What do you think of that, Ms. Nelson, the fight fire with fire strategy that Gavin Newsom appears to have adopted?
It's about damn time. Mm. I'm tired of people laying down for the open, hostile, and notorious fascism and authoritarianism that's going on in our country right now. It'll be interesting to see what the Supreme Court does after today's arguments on tariffs. Mm-hmm. Listening to the questions, I think Trump's in trouble. I don't think they're going to rubber stamp this one. But going into 2026 is going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it'll be a big midterm, no doubt about it. Did you have another question, Janet?
No, I was going to say that means we'll be hearing from Sophia a lot more because there are going to be so many stories with the upcoming elections, and we'll have to go back to her.
I have a new book coming out in the spring, so I'm looking forward to it. Yes.
Yeah. By the way, she is a best-selling author as well. We need to get that in.
And again, VirginiaMercury.com. The Meaning and the Duty of a First, an article posted this morning by Sophia Nelson, who has joined us here today, and Colita Fairfax as well, working on that article. Feel free to go check it out. And it will work in concert with this conversation. Ms. Nelson, is there anything else that you would like to discuss? Any other topics that have interested you about everything happening over the last few days, weeks, and months here?
I'm proud to be a Virginian. And thank you both so much for having me. It's been delightful.
Well, thanks for joining us. And as Janet said, we certainly look forward to doing it again. We hope that you'll come on Live Impact
Absolutely.
News with us.
We'll get the audio better next time. We'll make it work next time.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. We're still working out the kinks here. We have the best producer in the game,
It's all
Campbell,
good.
working hard on it. And
It's
we'll
all
definitely
good.
get that fixed. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Miss Nelson. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday,
You bet.
and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, Janet, what do you think? Your first time in the Live Impact News studio, your first kind of interview with us here, Janet Roach, and a lot of interesting stuff coming out of that.
That was very interesting. I hope you will have me back again, too.
Well, we'll certainly have you back again, Janet.
Okay, you will?
The only thing with you is that if we have you on here too much, they will certainly give this job to you.
Oh.
That I've got going
I
on
won't.
right
I
here.
won't take that from you, Connor. No, it's all you do a great job.
Well,
You
thank
and
you.
Naya.
Yes, the People's producer, Nia Campbell, carrying us through every day. Any part of that conversation that stood out to you? I certainly did not expect her to say Abigail Spanberger, vice presidential candidate.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see,
Of course.
But I'm not surprised because she did kind of give off that aura last night. And then, and her being a centrist, being a people feeling like that she may be someone that can appeal to both sides.
Yeah.
So that, and as far as anything else she said, I just thought she had some really succinct answers. Sophia Nelson is known for being direct. She does not mind speaking her mind, and I think she did that in explaining some of what happened last night.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to have her here, and we'll certainly have to do this again. We like to end it with a personal question, Janet, before we get you out of here. Typically, you work all the afternoon shows we got, but you're out of here by 6:30. Last night,
Right.
a far later day, a much longer day for you, working deep into the night. How was it getting up this morning? I had a little bit of trouble getting up and getting in this morning. You seemed like you rolled in
It was okay.
with the same
it was
energy
fine.
as always.
The issue is my husband wakes up so early.
Okay.
And so that wakes me up, and so I've gotten used to little sleep.
Right. You've trained your body. If you only get a few hours, no problem.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I know it's probably not healthy for me in the long run.
Yeah.
But it wasn't hard.
Okay. Between the husband and the dog, you've got a lot of alarm clocks.
Yeah. Snoopy was like antsy this morning. We had to keep taking him out.
Well, Snoopy loves election day.
He does.
He's very civically minded.
He wants to vote.
Exactly. We're going to work on getting him that treasure. Okay,